Serious therapists / psychologists of Reddit. What is a big red flag that many people don't look out for in regards to mental health? I am a crisis counselor and we receive pretty extensive training in this. A lot of people overlook two things: drastic change in appearance and wanting to give your things to people for free. These two things often preclude suicide. But people chalk it up to wanting a change in generosity. The big red flag I see, in regards to mentally unhealthy people, is if they don't have anyone around them that's both mentally healthy and good at active/respectful listening. I've worked with lots of mentally unhealthy kids with panic attacks, kids with PTSD from being abused or raped, kids with anxiety issues, kids with depression. A common thread is not that they never said anything, but they often did. And were told they were being dramatic/being an attention whore/over-exaggerating/making something out of nothing/being ungrateful for their good life/following the trend/just being bitter/just being jealous. They were told these things by the people who are supposed to protect them: friends, counselors, teachers, parents, relatives. Eventually they stop saying anything until they implode. And their problems are too big for anyone to ignore. Don't wait until someone's screaming or throwing themselves off a cliff to take them seriously. The biggest one I've seen in my personal and professional life is the swift change in mood/personality. Someone who has been otherwise depressed or withdrawn is suddenly much brighter, laughing more, talking about how good things are. They might even make plans for the future, like trips or going back to school. In my line of work, they'll often start engaging more in their treatment plan or create new goals for themselves. It's very misleading. But if you know the person like you should, you'll most likely pick up on this change as a suicide risk rather than genuine improvement. It doesn't just happen that fast, unfortunately. This is one for you to watch out for in yourself. But when your daily life only includes the bare minimum of getting by, you cook, clean, go to work, but you're not really doing anything fun or exciting or engaging. Maybe all you're cooking is what's easiest. Your house/apartment isn't dirty, but also isn't clean, and you just eke out your work day. Everything is fine, but nothing is good. This is the stage that often comes before total loss in interest. Nothing is wrong yet, but there is a chance that it's coming. Edit. To give a little background, I am a recreation therapist. I've been working in acute crisis inpatient psych, hospital-level care, for over 11 years. My job is essentially to help folks to figure out how to actually live life. That's putting it extremely simply and doesn't really cover my experience here. What do you do if you have noticed you are in this skip-repeating rut? I said this to a few people already, but my suggestion is to make one small change in your daily existence. Start with just changing something, actively and consciously, to be different. Your aim is not to feel better. It's just to feel or think differently. Move your bed. Throw out a piece of clothing you wear all the time. Don't worry about donating shit unless you feel motivated enough to do that. Why something you wear all the time? Because force yourself to wear something different. If that's too much of a commitment, throw it in the back of the closet. Go to a different grocery store, gas station, whatever your usual stops are. Stop somewhere different. Take a different road home. Change up the timing of your routine. Some of this will be more of a time commitment than others, so figure out what fits for you. But just make one change. One thing that isn't going to be some drastic, earth-shattering change. Make it today. And ask yourself how you feel in a week. Don't ask yourself tomorrow. Wait a week. It doesn't matter what the answer is. Just ask it. Feeling like a burden to those around you. Physical and/or mental pain. Hopeless that things will change. A lot of people put on a persona of, everything's okay, or, I have my shit together, when underneath they are struggling. There might be inconsistencies in what people say and their body language/what they do. It's pretty common e.g. In postnatal depression, being interested in asking how people really are is a great start to the conversation about what's really going on. The only thing I haven't really seen on here yet is substance abuse. While the really clear signals are easy to see, sometimes it can be more subtle. Non-typical missing appointments with ever-shifting excuses. Sudden changes in behavior. Sleeplessness. Not being there, can all be concern for concern. One of them being substance use. Constant time displacement/confusion. Don't remembering very well or forgetting the general notion of time, forgets birthdays. Don't what day is it? Something like that. I'm a little late, but hopefully someone will find this useful. Here are some bullet points, but they are not by any means exhaustive and instead of a mixture of theories in the field and my own experience. I recently lost an old friend to suicide and I work in mental health where I assess risk routinely. It's incredibly hard to spot when it is out of context. But my advice based on my career and my experience would be to notice the following: cutting off contact for no apparent reason. Attempting contact after a period of no contact. Upheaval in their life, calamity with job, relationship, health or finance, if any of those things are going on. I'd encourage people to just ask, "Hey, I noticed XYZ. Are you okay?" They may tell you the truth. They may brush it off. But asking can be powerful. Whatever their answer, don't judge or push. People who are having suicidal thoughts already feel worthless and they don't need help making that worse. In relation to suicidal behavior, there are risk factors to consider. Suicidal thinking, i.e., I'm better off dead. Suicidal plans, i.e., collecting pills, buying rope, etc. Hopelessness, a feeling things will never get better, feeling burdensome upon others, acquired capability, i.e., working or experience situations that desensitize us to physical harm and death, such as doctors, nurses, veterinarians, soldiers, emergency workers, self-harm, unemployment, physical or mental disability. What to do? Listen, if you feel able. This isn't always easy if you are close to the person. Gently suggest a visit or call to GP, suicide support services. Let them know your positive feelings about them. Involve friends/family who are sympathetic to the situation. Encourage them to engage with therapy if that is an option. Help them put together a hope box, a shoe box or similar, filled with items that are mementos of happier times. Photographs of trips, something their child made, affirmations from work, etc. They can then use this to look at when the thoughts get most intense, which is going to be usually when they are alone. I'm basing some of this information on clinical risk assessment. As they say, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. To that end, at the wake of my departed friend, I instigated a pact with the many friends of that group. If we ever felt like we would hurt ourselves, we would contact another, or all, members of the group to let them know how we felt before we did anything. The one thing that stuck with us is that our friend who took their own life at no point asked for help, and if they had, things may have been different. When they stop to do things they like, for example going to the gym, to concerts, or generally listen to the music they liked before, heading straight to Depression Island, my friend. This happened to me big time. I sang in choirs growing up and it was hugely important to me in high school. When I got to college it became less important but still enjoyable enough that I made it a priority to continue doing and sang in my university's concert choir every semester. As my mental health got worse and worse, I reached a point where I wasn't enjoying it anymore. I dropped the class midway through a semester. The director, who I also know personally outside of school, reached out to me to ask if I was okay. It meant a lot to me that she noticed the red flag that I stopped enjoying something that was once so important to me. Dramatic change. And I don't just mean the bad kind. All change, even when it's for the best, can be stressful and scary. I'm constantly discussing this with my clients. Everything I read here hit me like a brick. I am not okay. Crisis therapist here. Stopping medication because you're feeling better. Mental health is not a virus. I've seen this mentioned tangentially a couple of times. But unintentional. Negative changes to your daily routine. This includes things like sleep shifts, major gain/loss of appetite, stopping/avoiding activities, etc. Depressed people help others too willingly. Big red flag. A therapist, professor of psychopathology, once said to me that she believed diets, she probably meant fad diets, were very suspicious in terms of eating disorders. Although I'm personally pretty skeptical of that. I'm not a therapist, so take these with a grain of salt. But I notice that people who are going through shit, they have a difficult time making simple small talk. It could be social awkwardness/anxiety, so you have to take it in the context of how they normally behave. When someone responds too quickly/abruptly, or they take too long to respond to benign questions, it often seems to mean they are really in their head and have to put effort to compose themselves and step out of whatever mental loop of dread they are in. Long pauses. Or they are ready to blow from the pressure. Abrupt, canned responses. Hey, how are why? Good, you, how was the weekend? Okay. I have learned through my studies and personal experience. When someone stops taking care of themselves in regards to appearance and hygiene, i.e. not brushing/washing hair, wearing dirty clothes, not bothering with the little things